Hey, this is the Entertainment Advice channel. What I want to talk about today is the question of, was the 1990s the golden age of rap music? So for this video, I'm going to discuss if the 1990s was a golden age of rap music or it's, of course, overrated. So now that I've mentioned that, let's get started. So when it comes to, was the 1990s the golden age of rap music? The simple answer to that question is yes. The 1990s was absolutely the golden age of rap music. Now, the reason why I say the 1990s was a golden age of rap music is simply down to the fact that the 1990s, simply put it, for that matter, um, when it came to rap music, had something as objective. Now, of course, when it comes to if you prefer music like how it sounds now versus how it sounds back then, it's kind of going in a category of it's a bit subjective. But the thing of the matter is, when it comes to some things in life, okay, particularly when it comes to the 1990s for certain particular reasons, there is some objective reasons to actually show yes, it was better. And the reason why 1990s music sounds better objectively is simply down to the fact is that there was more variety. And that is the simple truth of the matter. 1990s music had much greater variety than music today, for that matter. Okay? Unlike today, where you hear a bunch of rappers and they all sound the same, 1990s, everyone had to be different and unique. And people who tried to kind of copy other people had absolutely terrible careers where they didn't really get anywhere and everyone made fun of them and were picked on and put down because everyone's like, you guys are so obviously trying to copy this person. There's many examples of that actually, and people did not respect those people at all. A lot of things happen to those type of people for that matter. Some of the things when it comes to how their career did is probably not even worth mentioning. And even though that might sound a bit cruel to us, specifically today, the truth of the matter is it at least guaranteed that there is quality. Just like the Milli Vanilli story. Yes, it was kind of cruel and excessive, but looking at how things are now, it sometimes you kind of realize the way people do things, whether it's considered cruel or not, is actually kind of good because it kind of makes sure that there's at least a certain fundamental level of quality. Okay, there's a certain fundamental quality standard, if anything. Maybe the way they did it was definitely took things too far, but it's still, you know, as history shows, sometimes you have to kind of be kind of a dick sometimes to kind of make sure things stay good. Because then you have people who then try to become opportunists and they try to take advantage of the situation. Say, hey, well, he did this. Why can't I do this? And then they just screw everything up for that matter. So that is the truth of the matter. Okay. And when it comes to this particular topic, this main specific topic about 1990s music, yes, it is true. It does apply to this situation too. You have to be you had to be yourself back then, okay? And if you weren't, people would give you a hard time. And because of that, it made sure that the music sounded more varied, okay, than music today, okay? Every rapper you listen to sounded so different than every other rapper out there, or at least significantly different for that matter, okay? Because even though rap sonically, which I personally blame sampling for, is kind of limited compared to other music genres, specifically rock. To be quite honest with you, one at least good thing about rap back then, at least, because despite the flaws of rap music, when it came to how it sonically was varied, the truth of the matter is, at least one good thing about music back then is that it still was better than today. It was varied. Listen to a lot of musicians. Listen to a lot of musicians. Listen to someone like Mobb Deep. Listen to someone like Dr. Dre. Listen to someone like obviously Tupac, Biggie, and a bunch of those other people out there, and you quickly start realizing more and more. Oh my God, the music sounds so different from each other, and that's what I'm trying to say when it comes to the music back then. So objectively, it was better in that regard. Okay, because music didn't all sound the same like music you hear nowadays. And nowadays, it all sounds the freaking same. You listen to one song, or even like 20 songs, you've listened to them all, and you actually start noticing over time, haven't I heard this song before? That's exactly what I'm saying. So when it comes to that particular regard, 1990s music definitely takes the cake. It was more varied. So now the question, of course, becomes um overall for an overall question, of course, was it a golden age of rap music? No, to be honest with you, I'd have to say it was a golden age. The 2000s, I believe, could have probably been better than the 1990s, but the biggest problem with the 2000s that toward the end of it, the music started to suck, and it wasn't as good as it used to be, and it didn't sound as good as it could have sounded, for that matter, to be quite honest with you. So the truth of the matter is, when it comes to the 1990s, since it was conclusively better off throughout the whole decade from the very beginning to the end of it, especially when you also take into consideration the fact that it was consistently good from the beginning to the end of it and didn't fall off, like 2000s music did. It definitely was the best decade for rap music. It was a golden age. I still feel they could have talked about other things instead of talking about gang violence and a lot of things that I don't even think would even have passed today in today's world, for that matter. With it comes to the topics and stuff that they're discussing, in the music, for that matter. Okay, but the truth of the matter is, for the standards of the time, it was actually really revolutionary, and it still did have a better variety. It didn't sound all the same like it did, and people actually had to try. Unlike today, where people don't have to try, and you can actually understand what they are saying. So yes, it was not the golden age of rap music, objectively. Now, here's the thing, though. As I've said before numerous times, especially in the comment sections, here's the thing, though. Is it objectively better in terms of like how it sounds and even the style of the music itself? Here's the thing, because I'm trying to make it clear I'm a fair person. Now, when it comes to those particular elements, here's the thing. I just want to make it clear, okay? If the 2010s music, which of course is considered, if anything, the worst decade in rap music, for that matter, if the 2010s actually applied the same fundamental principles as 1990s music, like having a greater variety of sounds, or at least as good as the 1990s, as well as, of course, not only that, but encourage people to make music that actually, well, didn't suck, like in a sense that you could actually understand what they're saying. And they talked about a greater variety of topics and had something for everyone. You would start realizing that it's harder for people of the past to say that the music of today sucks, whether we personally like how it sounds or not, for that matter. So the truth of the matter is, if they didn't do that, then I couldn't say the 1990s would be better than the 2010s or even the 2000s, for that matter, okay? The reason why we say this all the time is because they haven't changed. They haven't been willing to try and do something different and new. And for that very reason, that's why all of us make fun of 2010s music. It's not because we want music to sound like it did back then. Anyone who says that would be absolutely crucified, not just by our community, but online, for that matter. So they wouldn't say that as a result. But not only not only would that, as I was saying, something bad happen to a person who would say something that's stupid, the truth of the matter is no one's really that stupid. We all know music has to evolve. This argument has already been proven. This is not the 1960s or 1970s or 1980s. We already know, yes, it has to evolve. It can't sound the same forever. Those arguments are old and outdated. No one in the modern world would be dumb enough to say that. It's just like the whole argument, should people swear in music? Like, who the fuck is talking about that in 2024, for that matter? Everyone's past that stage. That stage is old and outdated. Or also the other classic one that also, of course, I'm certain that I'm certain a lot of is a whole, oh, music should only be talking about things that are positive and happy and upbeat. That is also so outdated. You would never hear someone say that anymore. That had its time. That's done. That would never happen again. That was a long time ago. Those two arguments are examples of arguments that are dead. Okay, so no one to answer your question is saying that because the music doesn't sound as good as it, because the music doesn't sound like how it did back then. No one was saying that. We're saying that because the music today genuinely, objectively sucks, and that's the truth of the matter. So that's why a lot of us cling on to music in the past that we would have actually moved on from, and even simply plain and simple forgotten, if anything. So anyway, that is the truth of the matter. That's why we're not moving on, because the music of today objectively sucks. So anyway, this is my video. I hope you found it informative. Just remember, if you like this video and videos like this, remember to thumb this video up and hit the subscribe button. And this is all to say, and simply put it, I'm out. So bye.